Good morning. I hope all is well, and I hope you're excited for today because I want to talk to you about a couple friends of mine, a couple who started investing at the same time as me, and Gisela, and they had a hard time because at the beginning we were all running around trying to find investors, and they had the problem was that every single person they spoke to said no. And there was a reason for it. It wasn't that they were bad people. It wasn't that they weren't trustworthy. It was that it's not just that, but they had been in network marketing before, and so they'd already talked to all their friends and family and kind of pitched them before. So now, when they had their next big thing, they were going to start with property, people just weren't interested, and it was a real pain. We were just starting out as well. We had some success, and then we had failure, and it was back and forth, and it was challenging. And we tried to figure things out, both of us, for ourselves. And they talked. They were such hustlers. I mean, they ran and ran and ran. They were talking to everyone, but they just couldn't raise finance, and they had some money, so they could do their first deal. They'd been very successful in the network marketing, so they'd been able to make some money there. But so they could buy a property, but there wasn't more than that. And what I love about them, what's so exciting about their story, is that when you're in that situation, you might have bought a property, but you can't get a single person to want to invest. You're talking, you're chasing, you're running, and you've done it for months. I mean, literally like 6 months of trying and not getting any results. What do most people do? They give up, right? Most people give up in that situation. But what was so cool about them was that they reminded themselves that if you do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, what is that? Exactly, they call it the definition of insanity, right? So they realized that they had to do something different. They had to shake something up. So what they actually did was they decided to leave Sweden, and they traveled to the to the UK, and they actually moved to the UK and started living in a town in the UK. And they started, networking with different investors there. And all of a sudden, their friends and family went, "Wow, they really are serious." And they started sourcing deals, and they found a couple that were really, really good. And because people now took them seriously, they started getting investors, and all of a sudden their portfolio blew up, and they got some huge buildings now that they're renting out, and they've done really, really well for themselves. And it's taken years, and it took a lot of work, but the big thing that happened was they took that step and they changed the definition of what they were to property investor. So I'm not saying you have to move to the UK. If you haven't been able to raise money here in Sweden or wherever you are, it doesn't mean that you have to move to do it. But what they did was they changed the narrative. They changed the story about them. They changed it from, oh, they're the network marketers who now have a new thing, to like, wow, wait a sec, they're property investors. And so for me, I had to change the narrative as well. I was an employee. I was a good person at the company. I was good at my job, but I was also a bit of a goofball. I'd have fun. So maybe not the guy you give a bunch of money to invest. The office goofball. So I had to change the narrative. I had to make them see I was now a property investor. And for me, posting on social media helped me change that narrative. All of a sudden, my Facebook page changed from like, hey, look, here's a funny video, to, or here's a party I was at, to, look at this. This is who I am now. This is what I do. I wasn't at a lot of parties, but you get the idea. This is who I am. I'm a property investor. And that just instantly changed the narrative. So the question is, what can you do to change the narrative about you? What can you do to change the storyline about you to make you the investor? That's how you get the result. Good morning. I thank you for being here, and I want you to take this lesson with you. Just have that in mind. What can you do to change the narrative? All right. So that's the big thing. Now, thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like the post. You know, it always makes things so much more fun when I get a bunch of comments and likes on these, because it's, you know, it shows that you actually watched and listened to it. So please leave me a comment. Thank you so much for watching, and please share how you are going to change your narrative.